Let's write a Christmas story. I absolutely love Christmas time. To be honest, I do find myself falling to a rut a lot of years when it gets cold outside. I don't really know what it is. Maybe it is slight seasonal depression, or maybe it's just the cold freezing all my good ideas. Whatever it is, Christmas time always seems to snap me out of that rut. So I'm hoping to get back into a writing groove by writing a Christmas story. And I figured since I'm a sci-fi author and I'm trying to get back into writing my sci-fi stories, it'd be a cool idea to write a sci-fi Christmas story. I feel like there really aren't that many of those out there, which is even more reason for me to write one. But that's enough talk, let's get writing. My first step when it comes to writing any short stories is actually reading short stories to give myself some inspiration. And since it's Christmas time and this is a Christmas video, I'm gonna be reading some famous Christmas stories. Hold on, something just doesn't feel right. What was I thinking? Reading Christmas stories without hot chocolate? That's insanity. Much better. So I read The Gifts of the Magi and a couple other Christmas stories, and yeah, now I'm feeling pretty inspired. At this point now it's time for me to generate ideas for my own sci-fi Christmas story. I like to brainstorm by writing as many ideas as I possibly can down in a 15-minute span on a notebook. Now, when I'm brainstorming, no idea is too crazy or too stupid, I put everything down on the page. You never know when you're gonna write down an idea that seems completely ridiculous only to inspire an incredible idea. So yeah, I never like to filter out any ideas for a brainstorming session. However, for this brainstorming session, I really want to focus on positive ideas. A lot of the short stories I write end up being really messed up or bleak, and I really don't want that for a Christmas story. I mean, sure, it would be a different take on a Christmas story to end it with some horrific twist, but that's not really the point of what I'm going for here. This is a Christmas video. I want the story to embody the holiday spirit with maybe a sci-fi twist. Okay, definitely a sci-fi twist, but a positive sci-fi twist. If I really want, I can write about killer elf robots another day. Anyway, I'm gonna put 15 minutes on the clock and see what I come up with. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. I've definitely come up with some ideas for a sci-fi Christmas short story. Not a ton of ideas, but enough to kind of get started. Before I reveal the idea I'll be choosing for this story, I thought I'd mention some of the other story ideas I didn't quite choose, but I really like as well. Here I have Santa struggles to find a way to deliver presents to Martian colonist children. I really felt like that could have been a fun story, but I just didn't have enough to kind of go off of. Here I also have aliens misunderstood the celebration of Christmas. I feel like that could have had a lot of potential. It just was kind of a lot of work to kind of think of how they could misunderstand Christmas. So I might write that in the future, but for now it just didn't feel like a good fit. I also had a young genius build a snowman a brain. I thought this was a really interesting story idea, except for the fact that I feel like that story would not end up being really happy and Christmassy. The first place my brain takes me to is just that snowman being terrified of the sun. The story idea I ended up choosing though was a scientist takes his family to excavate the remains of Earth and celebrates Christmas for the first time. The first time since the extinction of humans on Earth. Obviously there are some upsetting sci-fi elements in that story, but I feel like it can also be really uplifting. We'll see how it comes out because now it's time to write it. We'll see how the writing sessions for this story go. I really have not been writing consistently in December. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I really struggle with my creative energy in the winter months. Hopefully though, I can have some good writing sessions writing this story and kind of build on that momentum moving forward. You know, sometimes when it comes to writing, you just need to give yourself a little bit of a push. That being said, I'm just procrastinating here, let's get writing. So when I write a short story, I do like to kind of get all the writing done in one day. That being said, I found having one bulk session is not the best way for me to do that. Instead, I found what works best for me is I like to write for 45 minutes and then take 15 minutes off and then repeat. In my first 45-minute session, I wrote 713 words, which for me typically is not good, but considering I have not been writing recently, I'm perfectly okay with that. In that first session, it really felt like I was just trying to get back into that writing groove because I really have not done this in a while. So hopefully in the next 2 or 3 sessions, as I finish this story, I can improve my pace. As for the actual quality of the writing, I can tell that it's a little bit rough, but hey, that's okay. Even if it's not the best, at the end of the day, it's just a fun story to really get me back into my creative habits. With that being said, it's been 15 minutes, so I'm gonna get back to writing. So it took me about 3.5 hours to get that story written, and I'm pretty content with that. Now typically after I write a story, I like to wait a full week before I go back in and edit it. I feel like when you give yourself time before you come back and edit a story, you come in with a more fresh mindset. However, for this story, I really don't have a week because I want to put this video as soon as possible, so I'm just going to quickly go over it and just put it out there. If you're interested into how the story came out, I'm going to put it in a pinned comment below. I would read it for you out loud. We both know every time I do that, I just sound like a 5th grader struggling to get through a page. Let's face it, I would make an absolutely abysmal audiobook narrator. But yeah, if you do take the time to read my Sci-Fi Christmas Story, let me know in the comments what you think about it. To be honest, I'm on the fence about this story. On one hand, this is nowhere near the quality of work I strive to create. On the other hand, I'm just happy I wrote something again. I feel like the idea I had for this story is actually really solid. I just feel like I left a lot to be desired. That being said, while I am being critical, I'm also not ashamed of the story. I feel like I'm not really embarrassed to put this in the comments for you to read. So at the very least, I'm becoming more brave about putting my work out there. If you wrote a Christmas story, it doesn't have to be sci-fi, drop it in the comments, I'll be happy to read it. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. As I mentioned before, I will be doing a Christmas special, although now that I think of it, I guess this kind of is a Christmas special. I basically plan on doing the same thing I did for my Thanksgiving special, but for Christmas, so wish me luck. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and happy holidays. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe it inspired you to write your own Christmas story. Feliz Navidad. I feel like that's not an exit statement, but whatever.